I finished recording my coverage of all the other stuff that we got from the Nintendo Direct, and I've saved the best for last. It is time to talk about the new trailer for Metroid Prime 4. Now, I'm going to do things a little backwards. I'm going to start with my overall impressions, and then we're going to move through the trailer, and I'll give you my individual thoughts. It is surprising to once again receive a pretty teasery trailer. I really was expecting more. It's really weird how Nintendo has been marketing this game, because, like, you know, we got, like, the actual gameplay reveal, but it was still very teasery. It was still clearly just, like, the opening tutorial area of the game, and, like, right at the end of the trailer, it showed, like, the bigger area that it would probably take place in. And now, with a dedicated Switch 1 Nintendo Direct, and with the Switch 2 coming probably pretty soon, Switch 2 Direct happening next week, this really seemed like the time to give us the full reveal, the big reveal, you know? And yet this trailer was still kind of small in scope. It still looks like this pretty much just covers the opening areas of the game. If the very first trailer was like the opening little tutorial area, akin to the space station in Prime 1, then this really just seems like, okay, it's the actual, like, real area of the game, but it just seemed like the opening. It seems like the kind of stuff that you'd get in the first, like, 10 minutes. You know, obviously, it's going to touch on more stuff, because it shows off a couple different abilities, the whole psychic ability thing. We'll talk about that in a sec. So, like, yeah, there's obviously, like, little shots here and there that show further in the game, but most of this trailer looks like really just that opening chunk. It's some of the stuff we saw in the first trailer. It's some very, very basic enemies. It's just kind of wandering around and scanning, and it's, you don't know. It's just strange. It's still such a small trailer, and I'm wondering what they're waiting for, you know? I don't know, maybe the game, I always assumed that the game would launch pretty early in this year, probably no later than the launch of the Switch 2. However, it's possible that it is coming out later this year, and that's why they're still holding some of the cards close to the chest, because they're gonna have, like, the bigger reveal later, maybe during a June Direct or something. I really don't know, and it's also interesting that we didn't get a release date. And it was surprising at first, but I think I probably agree with the idea that's being thrown around that it's probably going to launch the same day as the Switch 2, because, like, there doesn't seem to be any real reason why it wouldn't have a solid date, unless it's coming so much later in the year that they genuinely don't have a date yet. But apart from that, I can only see it coming out same day as Switch 2, and that's why they couldn't really reveal the release date, even though they're not saying that's the date that the Switch 2 is coming out, but they don't want to acknowledge that day at all. You know what I mean? And if it's true that it's coming out on the same day as the Switch 2, then I really would hope that means some sort of cross-gen thing. Again, as always, not getting my hopes up. We haven't had any other indication that that's what's happening. But, like, come on, if it's launching the same day as the new system, there's got to be some sort of upgrade thing. And I just recorded the video on the whole Switch 2 edition thing, so I guess that is giving me renewed hope that there will be a special edition or something. Whatever the case, though, yeah, it's a surprisingly small trailer, and yet I am not disappointed by it, because there is still a whole lot of wonderful, wonderful stuff to enjoy about this trailer. It's got a very weird quality. Did anyone else get that? I don't know. They just, like, even like the voiceover, it's a little bit funny, especially when it's like, she can use mechanisms and open doors. Everybody was all laughing about that. But, like, I don't know, just the whole entire trailer had this very kind of hushed, weird vibe about it, and especially with all the psychic abilities and stuff. I don't know, just like they were treating it with this strange reverence, and I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, let's go over the specifics. Not gonna go frame by frame. I came close. I was like, I'm not gonna go frame by frame, And then I was going to, and then finally at the end, I just, okay, we'll still go through beginning to end, but we're not going to be quite that detailed. Before I say anything, whoo, that music. You hear that music? That's Metroid Prime music right there. You know, like after Metroid Dread, I'm trying not to be worried about the music in this game, but that's some Metroid Prime music right there. Oh, I get chills just like listening to a second of it. So yeah, love the music in the trailer. It is wonderful to get a better look at this this new environment. Yeah, in the first trailer, we really just got like the one shot plus the little bits of extra footage from the website or whatever. Here, it's really cool to have a look around. It's this dense and weird and moody and sometimes dark forest. At one point, we could even see there's like a bit of like wreckage or something tangled up in the roots. I am in love with this humongous, like weird bridge with the giant chasm underneath it leading to this big weird like tree temple thing. I think it looks so good. Metroid Prime games always have such striking environments, and I don't know, you already just get such a great taste of the identity of this opening area. We already get to see such striking landmarks, and you know, seeing how big and grand the area is. Like we don't know if the game itself is going to be open in any way or how big it's going to be, because you know, you can make a vista, you can make a landscape that looks huge. That doesn't mean you're going to be exploring it all, but this really does give a sense of a very grand scope. At the very, very least, we know that this is going to be just a very interesting planet to explore. And on that note, the narrator talks about how Samus is mysteriously transported here. And, you know, I like that. It's a pretty good way to get a Samus to do stuff, is to kind of strand her somewhere. And so, yeah, if the opening tutorial part is this whole like clash between her and Silex or whatever, it seems that she's probably stranded on this planet. We don't know if the entire game is going to take place on this planet. There's part of me that hopes we're not stranded here, because, you know, Metroid Prime 3 opened up the idea of visiting multiple planets, but then that kind of made them feel a little bit more disjointed. So while I like the idea of a big scope, I like the idea of really utilizing the gunship to go different places, I also really like the idea of just returning back to basics and just giving us one really big, cool planet to explore. And of course, like if it's a planet, that doesn't even have to be seen as a limited thing. You can have all sorts of different environments and biomes and whatnot on one planet. I doubt it's all going to take place just here in this like jungly area. So yeah, Samus is transported to this planet, and it is revealed that the planet is called Vuros, and we get just like a little introductory thing here of her walking around, and again, yeah, just it looks so striking. It really just looks so lovely, and I will say, getting a little bit more like unbroken gameplay. It is clear this is a Switch 1 game, and there is like part of me that is still kind of disappointed about it. I mean, I guess I always will be. It's not a secret, you know, just Retro Studios. They're so good at what they do, and I'm imagining a next-gen Metroid Prime game, so the fact that we're getting one here on the original Switch, yes, it is a bit of a bummer, you know, seeing her like walk around. You can tell. You know, it looks like a very, very, very good-looking Switch 1 game. It still looks really impressive, but there is that kind of, you know, a bit of that element where you can tell, yeah, these graphics, they are a little bit dated, but for the most part, they make up for it with just incredible style. Anytime you take a step back, anytime you zoom out just a little bit, just the art design and the texture work, and especially just like the lighting and the color is just, I don't know, it's working overtime to just make every single one of these images that just look so incredibly good. This trailer, you know, introduces us to the idea of scanning, which is I feel like is always going to be just a key part of Metroid Prime's identity. It's one of the, not to go on a huge tangent, but just the very idea of scanning was so novel in the original, that just like Metroid Prime and scanning. It's always got to be a thing. So right here we see that right in the beginning, you're scanning stuff to figure out what it does, and you know, it's another thing that kind of clues us in that this really is just like the opening area. How it's like, maybe if you shoot it with your gun, you know, maybe a charge beam would break it. But yeah, it shows off scanning, and then it shows off a little combat. You know, Samus just loves slaughtering indigenous life. That's what she does. So, you know, she's fighting bugs and weird, slimy, weirdo tentacle monsters and stuff, as per usual. And it also shows her fighting creatures. They seem very reminiscent of some of the ones that you fight in Prime 3 on one of the planets. And I don't know if they're just, you know, similar, but yeah, it definitely seems like pretty much all these are the kinds of creatures that she's fought in the past. Pretty reminiscent. And it doesn't really go much into, you know, actual like details of what kinds of combat enhancements we might get. This is all very basic beam stuff, you know, lock on, strafe, shoot. It's all very gentle. Again, very like early game, very tutorial-ish. Yeah, these six-legged things that she's fighting. The narrator calls them abhorrent. I would like to reserve judgment until I play the game. Don't be putting ideas in my head. I don't know that these things are abhorrent. That's very subjective. But I do have to wonder if these are, you know, sapient creatures, or if these are just wild monsters or something. I don't know, but they're pretty cool. They got 6 legs. I actually just looked up a second ago. What do you call a creature? You got a biped, 2 legs, quadruped, 4 legs. We call 6 legs. And I looked it up, and it's hexapod, but that also means 3 parts of the body, which is how we refer to insects. We don't have a name for just a creature with 6 legs because that doesn't happen outside of the insect kingdom. So, I don't know, sexaped, something like that? Somebody get a sci-fi writer on the phone. One time I read a Star Trek book, and there were aliens, and they had 6 limbs, but it was 4 legs and 2 arms, called them centauroids. I thought that was really cool. Anyway, then we learn about an actual honest-to-goodness gameplay hook. It seems that in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Samus gets psychic abilities, and I did think it was a little bit funny. They're just called psychic ability, just psychic. It's not like a special kind of energy or something, you know, Aeon. It's just psychic. She just gets to be psychic now, I guess, which is pretty cool. And yes, she can use these abilities to activate mechanisms and open doors and whatnot. And it's definitely the kind of ability where there can probably be a lot of different facets to it. But this trailer, it seems to be mostly about manipulating psychic motes. That's what she scans the statue, and it mentions how it's got a slot for a psychic mote, and you can see her pulling at a different part, pulling out a ball, and then like putting that ball into another thing. So obviously, you know, you've got like energy manipulation, taking something out of one thing and activating another thing. Then we've got other parts where she's using this ability to like move things around. And I don't know quite how this is going to go. It is kind of funny because it seems like the sort of ability that would want motion controls, you know, kind of like in Prime 3. They introduced motion controls, and so there were all these little things, like you're twisting the remote around and back and forth to like pull a thing out and then rotate it and then push it back in or rip something off. So I don't know if they're gonna use like motion controls to move this stuff around. I certainly hope not. I hope that we can just do it with the stick, because I don't feel like messing with that anymore personally, beyond just like a couple little things. But then at the same time, yeah, like if you weren't using motion controls, why would you create this mechanic where you're like moving things around? I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense when I play the game. It probably is all doable just with the stick anyway. But I don't know. That's cool. It's a fine idea with a lot of potential. I mean, if the idea is just you're taking a thing out of a thing and putting it in another thing and then moving things around, whether it's a lever or something, there's really no limit to what you can do with that. And, you know, a lot of Metroid is about puzzle solving. So yeah, seems fine. I mostly just like the vibe of the whole psychic thing, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Yeah, and apparently another one of the abilities that you get is to like go slow motion with your beam and like control its trajectory. Like you go along in slow motion and curve its path so you can hit multiple enemies and I presume switches. And it's a very interesting idea. It's really, I don't know if that's something that I would have ever considered, and it's certainly the kind of ability that's probably going to have a lot of different applications. I don't know how often in combat I'm going to want to like slow down and try to hit a bunch of enemies at once, but I'm sure there will be many switches. I'm sure there will be many series of switches where you've got to, you got to hit all the switches in a row or whatever. But even just the fact that you can follow along in like the camera follows along, I feel like there's got to also be applications in just like spy cam, you know? It's like having a little drone or something where you can like look up and overlay. I mean, it's got to, right? Like even just as I see it here, I see no reason why I wouldn't be able to just like, hey, what's up there? And just kind of just like go up there and check it out, you know? So it's another idea that's got a pretty good amount of potential, just depending on how they decide to use it. So then next, Samus gets to talk to what appears to maybe be a hologram or something of a person. And I will say it is a little bit funny. She really does have a knack for finding and aiding like ghostly, like utopian figures, you know, whether it's the Chozo or the Luminoth. It's like, yes, we are this utopian society, but there is something bad going on. And so I'm a ghost and we need you to help. I'm a ghost or a hologram or just, you know, just that like kind of serene robed figure. It is a little bit funny to see yet another one here, just yet another species of robed ghostly alien. This one calls Samus the Chosen One and everything. They're really just going for it. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm hoping that the story does go a little bit deeper than simply this planet needs your help. There's just something bad going on here and we need you to help us so that the planet doesn't die. Cause you know, that's, yeah, it's basically like the first 2 games. And then those did end up, you know, playing into a larger story, which I really loved that about the Metroid Prime trilogy, how it kind of like develops as you go. But I mean, I imagine that there's more to it. Yeah, like the whole like Silex thing. Is Phazon any part of this story whatsoever? We really don't know because again, this was a much smaller trailer that really did not seem to touch on like the bigger story of why she got there at all. But of course, there'll be plenty of time for all that. Love this shot. This shot with like the flowers growing up the walls and just flying around all over the place. I am absolutely in love with that. And then we just get a bunch of other like gameplay stuff, lots of little clips here and there. Another shot of like a big robot ship, something or other, that's all caught in the vines. We see a Metroid, because of course we do, and we see some other weird alien creatures, and we see a space pirate's face, and you know, just little stuff to get us excited. Yeah, we get a little taste of a boss, Carvex. Awesome. Plant bosses. Metroid just loves plant bosses. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And then the narrator, he's really laying it on thick. The threads intertwining between space and time are beginning to weave a new tale. Very poetic. I really appreciate that, man. Like I said, this trailer just has this like weird vibe about it. I think it's really cool. Boy, then at the end, so it shows her transporting somewhere. It looks like she's transporting into some sort of ship, and she's wearing a new suit. Talk about that in a second. So that makes me wonder if perhaps we're going to be teleporting back and forth between this planet, and maybe there's like whether it's a hub kind of place or a place that you visit every once in a while, the place that you start the game in. I don't really know, but she does seem to be warping. So, okay, whatever. Forget that part. Forget that she's warping. I don't care. The suit! Oh. That suit. seeing a new Samus suit is like, I don't know how to describe it. I can imagine it's something like holding your newborn child for the first time. You know, it's just this, it's just something changes inside of you when you inside of me when I lay my eyes on a brand new Samus suit. And it's been a long time. We went a long time without new Metroid games. And so, like, it was a long time without having that feeling. So, like, yeah, when it happened in Dread, like, that was a very impactful experience for me. And now here, what can I even say? It's a cool looking suit. I like it. I like it a lot. So that is the latest trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Yeah, like I said, it's smaller than I expected, but still, I mean, I mean, you know, I cover the news. I cover the Nintendo news, so you know, I'm looking for these trailers. I'm looking to talk about these trailers and whatnot. If I were not doing this job, this would be the final trailer that I watched at all. You know, even if they've just been giving us tastes, it's more than enough for me. I like everything that I have seen so far, and I am very excited to play the game. But yeah, so that's it for the trailer. But it is definitely worth mentioning. Nintendo revealed the box art for the game, and it's awesome. Looks very, very, very cool. It doesn't show off the full new suit, but there are certainly some interesting elements here. And I gotta say, I've been just like, I don't know, I've just been like learning a lot. You know, I've got subjects that I'm interested in, and I've just been doing better than I have at any other time in my life of just like having interests and researching them. And some of the things I'm interested in, I mean, like, okay, well, one, I love astronomy. Black holes are really cool. So the whole, like, behind the Metroid Prime 4 logo, the whole, like, black hole thing, that is already really cool. You know, it's talking about threads weaving between space and time. So, like, weird space-time weirdness. I'm very excited about that. But, like, some of the stuff I've been really interested in recently, I love, like, neurochemistry and, like, the idea, like, what is consciousness and, you know, kind of, like, metaphysics and stuff. I just think all that stuff is really cool. And so, seeing even just this image here on the cover, knowing that she gets psychic powers and her suit literally has a third eye on it, when I registered that that's what I was seeing, oh man, I was freaking out. It's so funny. It's so cool. Everything about this game, even separately from being a new and amazing looking Metroid Prime game, it's also like doing all this, a lot of these subjects that I think are really fun and I've just been like looking into a lot recently. It's too much. She's got a third eye, for Pete's sake. That's so cool. Oh man, it's just neat. It's neat. And wow, you know what? If you look at the box art close enough, we can see some new stuff back there. Is that like sand? It kind of looks like a sandy landscape, and there's like a weird tower in the background. Is that like another creature behind her, or is that like a statue? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. There's so much about this game that we really just don't know. But if we are lucky and it is going to have something of a presence on Switch 2, then it could be that we'll get more information during the Switch 2 Direct. I don't really know if they gave us this trailer. Maybe they're not going to give us another trailer that soon. So I guess I shouldn't get my hopes up. But I don't know. It's Metroid Prime 4. And it's shaping up to be cool. I'm really darn excited about it. She's got a third eye. Come on.